Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second best podcast ever. Not just cycling podcast now. This is the second best podcast ever in the world, officially. It's me, Chris Pritchard, and I'm joined, as ever, by... Well, not as ever, because last week you weren't here, but Cameron Jefferson is back from Portugal, looking tan, looking sexy, looking raring to go. You all right?
Mate, last week was so bad.
Was it?
Yeah, so bad.
Why? After being in Portugal and then...
No, you're the podcast.
Oh, the podcast.
Just me sat here, like, talking, trying to imitate me.
I know, I'm sorry. I thought I was doing something pretty good there, but obviously not. Right, we're going to get straight into this one because we've got a guest. If you've been watching Cameron's vlog channel or my channel, you will probably know what's happening right now. And we are I'm 6 stages deep. You're 7 stages deep into the Sufferfest.
No, Tour of Sufferlandria.
The Sufferfest Tour of Sufferlandria. That's what I was going to say.
Got it.
And we're going to now speak to one of the men who's in charge of making all that happen. We want an in-depth conversation about Sufferfest because I'm still getting people in my stream saying, "What's this software?
Yeah.
What is it?"
Same.
Yeah. So we're going straight to the horse's mouth, and we're going to phone Dylan right now and hopefully speak to him and get some information about what the bloody hell's going on. Look at that.
Chris and Cam, as I live and breathe.
Oh, he's a professional. Dylan, how are you?
Excellent. How about yourselves?
Really good. Probably a lot better than you are because you're currently in the future. It is Friday night where you are, so you're probably feeling a little bit fatigued.
You are gonna love Friday. I can just tell you. Coming from the future, you guys are it's gonna be amazing. But can I just talk a little bit about? Have you guys done Hell Hath No Fury?
Yeah.
Yet? Because you're doing the Tour of Sufferlandria, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dylan, we'll get onto all this. You're getting ahead of yourself.
Because I'm in the future, man.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If anybody watched my stream last night, they will know that I hath no fury last night. I was in a world of pain.
Yeah.
It was horrendous.
Same.
God damn it. We'll get onto that shortly. Dylan, you are the marketing manager for Sufferfest, I guess Wahoo nowadays. Is it Wahoo stroke Sufferfest?
Yep.
Or?
It's kind of a Wahoo fest. It's kind of yeah. So I mean, we're part of the same happy family. So Wahoo and the Sufferfest are kind of like Voltron. If you remember Voltron from the 80s, that cartoon where the robot kind of comes together. Yeah, absolutely. So we've created this kind of training Voltron. And so we're kind of like this monster robot that's coming to take over the indoor training and the smart training industry.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So me and Cam were just saying, and we'll get your take on all this. But as far as we're concerned, the Sufferfest is kind of like the first ever interactive digital online indoor platform that goes way back beyond the interactive stuff that you see nowadays. So give us a brief history of the Sufferfest, because like I said to Cam earlier in the intro, people are speaking to us in our comments and our streams saying, "What the hell is this?" So, what Sufferfest? What the hell is it?
The Sufferfest started in 2009, so we've been around for 11 years now. And it started, so our CEO and founder, David McQuillan, he was working in banking in Switzerland, and he was training for bike races, and the Swiss winters are notoriously crappy, to say the least, to ride in. And so he was trying to figure out a way to keep motivated on the turbo, and this was in the early days, and there was nothing out there. I mean, there was like spinnerfuls, and that wasn't really doing it. So he kind of started taking old Tour de France footage and putting together these videos just for himself to keep motivated when he was training. And he would put these like kind of motivational things up there to just keep him going. And he shared them with his friends, and they were like, "Dude, you should put this out there in the world. These are awesome." And so he started selling them on iTunes back in the day.
Wow. And
he realized quickly that he's like, I don't actually have rights to any of this footage. So he went to the UCI and he went to IMG and to the rights holders. And as this random dude riding his turbo in Switzerland was able to negotiate rights with these major rights holders, and started distributing these videos, and it got to the point where it was such a big. It started like a cult following, and it got to the point where he was able to give up his banking job and do this full time. And so it went from downloadable videos to a full app where you could connect devices via ANT Plus or Bluetooth in 2000, I want to say 16. So he brought on Reed Weber, who was one of the founders of Trainer Road, so he built out Trainer Road, and he built out our app. So we kind of migrated to an in-app environment in 2016, and we've been going gangbusters ever since. And in July of 2019, we were acquired by Wahoo, and the rest is history.
So prior to it, prior to 2016, when you couldn't connect, the ANT Plus indoor trainers, smart trainers to it, it was all about rate of perceived exertion. They were saying, the thing would say you've got to go 10 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, and then you've got to kind of guess where that lays with your fitness, right?
Yep, absolutely. So it was like RPE. We called it the suffer scale. So it would be like 1 out of 10, where 1 is lying on the floor sleeping, and 10 is an all-out, eye-bleeding, like full-on effort. And you would just have like on-screen cues that would tell you how hard you needed to go. And we quickly realized, with training with power becoming a lot more popular, and the price of power meters coming down, and the ability to connect smart trainers. CompuTrainer had been around for a bit, but smart trainers were starting to be more ubiquitous, and especially when Wahoo came out with the Kicker, it was a game changer. Mm-hmm. So we had to kind of adjust our business model, and being a downloadable video provider was not really the move that was going to sustain us into the next decade. So that transition to an app-based environment where you could connect your devices was just it was a no-brainer.
Wicked.
I've got a question. Why do you think the indoor cycling market's becoming as big as it is?
Because of Sufferfest, right?
I think there are a few, few reasons out there. I mean, I think that
because we kind of saw a steady increase, right, over the past 10 years, and I think maybe the last 2 years is kind of
skyrocketed,
exponentially gotten more and more popular.
Well, it was a perfect storm, I think, because smart trainers were becoming a lot more affordable, and the technology was such that people could afford it. Because, if you remember, 10 years ago, indoor training was the realm of just like the hardcore idiots. Like, if you trained indoors, you're just like, what are you doing? And now it's, and we have, outfits like Peloton and whomever to kind of thank for making or for normalizing indoor training, I guess. But it was that coupled with the fact that I think a lot of people realize that, riding outside sometimes is not as safe as they want it to be, or maybe they don't want to contend with the weather, or like just all these things where if you have the ability to get the work done and get it done in a way that is focused and targeted and not have to contend with traffic, and trying to do a structured workout out on the roads is, if you ever try to do it, it's just not a tenable solution. So it just made it a lot easier. And with the price of things coming down and it becoming normalized, I think it just kind of made sense. With Zwift, Sufferfest, Trainer Road, other partners like training apps like Ruby and Full Gas and all that. I just think that people realized that there was an alternative to getting out there and having to deal with homicidal drivers and crappy weather. And we're to the point where now it's one of the bright spots in the cycling industry. I would say indoor training and e-bikes are probably two of the growth industries in the cycling industry, where the rest of the industry is kind of hurting.
Do you think that the likes of Zwift and these more interactive platforms, because when I think of Sufferfest, when I originally think of it, I remember thinking back in the day when it originally came out, it scared the shit out of me because of the title of it. But nowadays with with the likes of Zwift and these more interactive things, do you think that's lifted your profile, lifted your brand up? And because there's even more platforms out there, it's actually assisted in getting your name out there and growing the brand?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, that old adage that a rising tide kind of lifts all boats. We've certainly seen that. And honestly, we don't see Zwift as a direct competitor. We see ourselves as complementary. I mean, there are plenty of sufferlandrians who use our platform to train for Zwift races. We even have a suite of esports training plans that our coaches, Neil Henderson and Matt Casson, have put together, designed specifically to prepare people for the rigors of this specific discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So, people who want that social aspect and they want the racing, that's fine. But really, we're focused on it's you against you. I mean, when you're doing a Sufferfest workout, as you guys well know, having done some stages of the tour, it's, there's no, the accountability is internal. So you have to, it's not like, can I beat this person to the line? It's like, can I stay at this target for the length of the interval? And so it's very much, the community aspect is outside of the app. So we have a really strong, supportive community, but it's very much outside the in-app experience. And it's kind of difficult to explain that to someone who's not like a part of it. But so that's why we don't really see it as direct competitors. We saw ourselves as very much a complement to those virtual racing platforms.
Yeah, the one thing I've found over this past week is how nowadays in this day and age, it's rare to come across a Facebook page that has so much positivity behind it.
Oh man,
than the Tour of Sufferlandria Facebook page. And
everyone is
just pumping each other up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why people gravitate towards the platform is it's all about motivating each other. It's encouraging people, understanding that we're all at our own kind of point in our fitness journey. And it's not a competition. The only person you're competing against is yourself. And there was that, when we first started as a brand, it was very much like kind of the adage was, I will beat my ass today to kick yours tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then that was kind of like what Sufferlandrians kind of rallied around, but that was kind of what was projected outwards. But when you got into the community, it was all about just lifting each other up and motivating each other, encouraging each other. And you never hear a bad word. Like everyone is just like out there to make sure that they're encouraging everyone to just do their best and to push themselves and to be better tomorrow than they were today.
Do you think part of that's because, for example, on Zwift, obviously you're racing, you're competing against other people, you physically and mentally want to, you want to beat people, whereas in Sufferfest everyone's doing it on their own terms. Like you said, they're racing against themselves. They're essentially just, they're training. There's no competitive aspect between the people. So, there's no one's trying to gain anything from anyone, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, and that's what we've tried to cultivate is just, it's you against you. I mean, and that's where, 4DP and measuring your efforts against your efforts, personalizing the experience. And, even with that graph, when you guys did your 4DP test, that whole kind of like, average, good, very good, exceptional, that has nothing to do with in comparison to anyone else. That's all in relation to your sustained power. Yeah. So that's just you against you. And so we understand that people, there's a competitive aspect. Like we all train because we want, there's a competitive element to it. Yeah. But that's not part and parcel of the Sufferfest experience. If people want to use our platform in order to compete, whether it's online, on the road, on the trail, like we're going to give them the tools so that they can kind of maximize their potential and ultimately kind of realize their personal fitness goals. And we're here to support them and encourage them and then motivate them to be the best they can be.
So before we talk about the Tour of Sufferlandria and our experiences of it and the weird shit that you get up to while you're doing it, Dylan, what does the future hold for Sufferfest? What can we expect to see in the future, and how do you feel that Sufferfest is going to have to adapt with the changing of platforms and new platforms coming along?
I think what we're going to see, I mean, obviously with the acquisition by Wahoo, there's going to be an evolution of the brand. I mean, one of our goals is to kind of build a larger tent that can bring kind of more people into it, because the Sufferfest brand, it started out as a cult kind of grassroots brand, and we have a fiercely loyal following, but at the same time, it's a polarizing brand, and we understand that if we're going to move forward and we're going to bring more people in and give them the benefits of the training tools that we're creating, that we have to kind of soften that a little bit, and figuring out how to meld the cultural aspects of Sufferlandria and the Wahooligans and kind of create a synergy of those is what we're going to kind of see going forward. So the Sufferfest as its own entity will probably be subsumed under kind of a broader Wahoo training umbrella, but it'll still exist because we still have, I mean, the Sufferlandrian community, as you guys have seen over the past week, is strong and really important. And we want to make sure that continues to thrive and evolve. But, you know, we also have to recognize that the Sufferfest is a polarizing brand, and so we need to make sure that we allow more people to take advantage of the cool stuff that we're doing.
Part of me kind of likes that though, because it's like, look, if you wanna do a long ride on the turbo trainer, you can go on Zwift and you can ride up and down the mountains and you can do races. But then if you want to train and you want to work hard and you want to become a better cyclist and follow a structured plan, you can do that on the Sufferfest, and you know you go in there to suffer.
Yeah, they're not trying to hide the fact that listen, exactly, this is going to hurt, but from it you are going to become a better cyclist, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's what we're all about. We're targeted towards time crunch cyclists. So you know, I have 2 kids. I can't go out and ride 3-4 hours on the weekend, so I need to be able to get in targeted sessions. 45 minutes to an hour. 5 days a week, if I'm lucky, and it's just I want to make sure that I'm not wasting a single pedal stroke, because I want to be able to. I don't race anymore, but I want to be able to ride as fast as I want to ride when I'm out riding with my mates and whatever. So it's just maximizing the enjoyment from the time that you're riding outside by maximizing the benefits that you get from riding indoors. So it's just like all about maximizing the return on suffering.
All right, and now before we let you go and get your recovery for tomorrow's stages, let's talk about this tour of Sufferlandria. I've avoided this like the plague for as many years as I could. I know about it, I've seen it. In no way in the past few years have I ever thought about doing it until Cam decided to do it, and then I jumped on the bandwagon and decided to do it, and absolutely regret it. So tell us how it started, where it started, and what we're up to now at this phase of the Tour of Sufferlandria.
So we are in our 8th edition, and kind of how it started was, David McQuillan, founder CEO of the Sufferfest, when it was still just downloadable videos. He was doing everything. So he was doing all the orders, everything, and he got an email from Connie Carpenter Finney, and he was like, "What? Holy shit!" Like Connie Carpenter Finney, like, a winner of the first women's road race in the Olympics, like complete badass. And he basically said, "Your money's no good here." She wanted some training videos because they were running a tour company at the time, and through that he got introduced to Neil Henderson, because Neil was coaching Taylor Finney at the time, and then Davis Finney, her husband, who was diagnosed with Parkinson's, early onset Parkinson's, in his 40s. Started this foundation, the Davis Finney Foundation, which is designed to provide resources for people living with Parkinson's and their caregivers. And so 8 years ago, David kind of started this yearly fundraiser, the Tour of Sufferlandria, where the whole premise was you ride 9 back-to-back days of Sufferfest stages. So it's billed as the greatest grand tour of a mythical nation in the world. And the whole like raison d'etre, as they say, is to raise money for the Davis Finney Foundation. So last year we raised over $200,000. All told, we've raised in excess of like $1.5 million. We're on on course to raise $250K just this year.
Wow.
And it's just an opportunity for, the Sufferfest community all over the world to come together, where you're just every day you're committing to doing, a stage. And as you've seen, like, Facebook feeds are just full of people encouraging each other, posting pictures, videos. Like, it's just where the community really kind of, comes out of the woodwork, and all to benefit the Davis Finney Foundation and their programs.
And one of the ways, sorry to interrupt, one of the ways you went about this year of of bringing donations in, could you just explain for those people that didn't see what happened on the Violator? Because you've been live streaming your training sessions, right?
Yeah, so every day at 8:30 a.m. here in Hobart, Tasmania, I go up to Dave's house, and he and I and our head of user experience, Chris Bloom, will ride each stage live on Facebook. So we'll do a Facebook live stream on the Sufferlandria group. And we have a series of challenges to raise money. And so Dave did the Violator one. We'll talk about that in a second. But for Team Scream, it's it's a workout that's meant to replicate a team time trial. So it's on-camera bike footage from the team time trial in Norway. For BMC. Yep. Hammer Series, awesome on camera, on bike camera footage. And so the challenge was, every time you take a pull, so for anyone that donated $25 and put a message in the comments, I would do a shot of Sriracha. So I had a full bottle of Sriracha in my bottle cage. And so that was 20 pulls over an hour. And so every time it hit a map effort so my targets would go up into like the high 300 watts, I would have to grab the bottle of Sriracha out of the bottle cage, squirt it into my mouth, and whatever the dedication was. So I had to sing like a Donna Summer song at one point. I had to speak in a Scottish accent. Brilliant. I had to like do all this random shit, and I ended up raising like $1,200 over just that video. But I consumed so much Sriracha in that hour. It was like a third of a bottle of Sriracha.
I dread to think and then the next day, was like the following day.
Yeah, exactly. And so the next day, Chris, who was sat behind me, did the next day's stage in a hazmat suit because he was in the blast zone. And Dave, so the next day was a Violator, which was 64 sprints. So it's a sprint workout. Dave did the entire stage on his BMX bike, on a fluid trainer, in full BMX gear, and did the entire thing, 64 sprints, standing on his BMX bike. So
that is insane.
Yeah, man.
My experience of the Violator was, did you, I don't know, you probably wouldn't have seen it, Dylan, but did you see the live stream on the Violator that I did?
Yours? Yeah.
No, Dave told me about it. He said you got through like 20 something?
Oh, man.
40 something?
Yeah, I started off and I said to everyone, 2 sprints, I'm all right. Anything over that, I'm screwed. And then all of a sudden my power started dropping off and I'd lost my head. And then all of a sudden David pops up in the chat and he says, for every time you hit over 1,000 watts, I'll donate $10. And that was it. I was like, I can't not do this now. So literally I missed maybe 3 sprints after that. But every single sprint I was like, I've got to commit. And I was in a world of pain afterwards. But it was amazing. One, he came in, and then 2, he did that. So I think my donations are nearly up to $500 now. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh, that's great, man. Which means you have 50 chances at our prize pool. So that's the other thing I didn't talk about. So we have all these sponsors that will donate prizes to the prize pool. So for every $10 that someone donates or fundraises, they get 1 chance at the prize pool. And this year we have like a Coal Collective cycling tour, Taming the Ventoux, a 4-day tour with Mike Cotty of the Coal Collective. We have a Kicker Smart Bike from Wahoo. We have
Can I actually win that? Do I stand a chance of winning that?
I think you might might not be in the running, man. But it and then we have like Oakley Sunglasses. We got Giro. We have Rafa. We have Velocio. Training Peaks is giving away like a year subscription. We have like a prize pool worth like $27,000.
These are legit.
So for every $10
prizes, aren't they?
Yeah, legit. Yeah, legit prizes.
And that's
so
I was sorry again to cut you off, Dylan. I was saying to the people in my stream that you don't have to ride the tour to actually be entered. You just don't need to donate.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
So
riding the tour, you get the badge and the passport. But yeah, I mean, you can just donate, set up a fundraising page, and for every $10 you fundraise or donate, you get a chance at the prize pool. So yeah, you can just sit on your couch and watch us suffer, and still win some really cool prizes.
Amazing. Right, we're not going to keep you any longer. It's very late over there.
No, you're good.
Thank you so much for getting in touch with us and telling everybody about it. We are going to be giving away. You have agreed to a year subscription to two of our. So one person from my channel, one person from Cam's can win the Sufferfest subscription for the year. So we'll get that done hopefully soon. Yeah. So if you're watching this, keep an eye out.
How are you guys feeling about the next 2 days of the tour? So tomorrow is a stage we're calling the hardware store.
Yeah.
So it's the tool shed and 14 vice grips, 2+ hours of heavy anaerobic capacity and maximal aerobic power intervals, and then you go into 14 vice grips, which is 14 map intervals. So it's going to be 2 hours well above threshold, and then we go into Sunday, which is 3 hours of climbing.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling a bit sick. Actually,
I'm actually busy this weekend.
I think I'm coming down with something. No, but that's a nice little segue because from my experience, so I'm pretty much a full-time cyclist. I race elite level in the UK. You know, I'd like to think of myself as fairly fit, and I've been suffering these past few days, but what I've noticed is it's as much mental as it is physical. It's if you think too far ahead of what's coming up, it's like, shit, I'm not going to be able to do this. This is too hard. Look at these crazy numbers. But actually, like your situation, Chris, where David came in and offered to pledge $10 for every time you hit 1,000 watts. Yeah. Like when you had that mentality of like, right, we're going to raise as much money as possible. You excelled what you thought you were going to be able to do.
Yeah. Yeah, which is weird. Because had he not come in, I would 100%. I'd have got off that bike after about 5 more sprints. It was that. So I can clearly do it. Yeah. But my head was just saying, no, don't do it. Yeah. I'm honestly not looking forward to it. But I've still got today's session to get out of the way. Cameron's done it. I've not done today's.
Oh, today's not too bad.
I'm not sure.
Joyride, I mean, depends upon the target. So I have a special role in Joyride. So the premise of that video is that the entire Sufferlandria national team parties too hard the night before a tour stage, and the DS is out, and so I take the team car, and it's just I'm your acting DS, and so I talk you through, and it's the cobbled stage from the Tour de France. Was it 2017 when Degenkolb won?
Yeah,
2018.
Oh, nice.
I want to.
It's brilliant footage.
I want to put this out there. Like when I was doing the session this morning, and because there's a couple of times there's crashes, isn't there, in the video? When these crashes occurred, I'm sat at like 450 watts going at it, and then I see the crash. I'm like, shit, and I stop pedaling. Like, oh no, it's virtual. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. And I'll talk you all the way to the finish, Chris. You're gonna be fun.
Thanks, man. I look forward to it.
All right.
Really appreciate your time, Dylan.
Well, yeah, anytime. And good luck on the rest of the tour. We're looking forward to seeing you at the end of the tour, and we'll have a beer at the Nine Hammers Tavern in Agonia, Sufferlandria, which is where we all meet up after the end of the tour. Yeah.
Nice.
See you there.
All right. Have a good night, yo.
Cheers, Dylan. And you.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
Ciao, ciao. What a boy.
What a boy. Yeah, I think one of the things I was going to say that I like about this tour is we're able to do the same sessions, right?
Yeah.
And we both did the 4DP, the power profiling test at the start of the tour. So we've both got our numbers, and we're doing the sessions based on percentages of those numbers, which is the same for both of us. And I think this is the first time, we've ever kind of done the same training. And I've been texting you, and you've been texting me talking about the sessions and stuff, and it's nice to have that relatable conversation.
I was thinking, shit, I'm doing the same. I'm doing the same training that almost a professional cyclist is doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Right.
I like it.
enough of Sufferfest. Quick bit of news, seeing as we know when this is going out. It's going out later today. Pretty much single-handedly saved Lincoln GP. You're looking at him. It's Chris Pritchard.
You see CEO of Rafa?
No, but I think my crowdfunder that raised £45.
Yeah.
Has gone a long way to making sure that there was enough exposure about the Lincoln GP. I mean, it wasn't me at all. Other people had bigger hands in it. But what I'm trying to say is Lincoln GP has been saved, which is a pretty big deal in the UK. And if you're not watching or listening inside the UK, Lincoln GP is pretty much the biggest race. The UK's...
I think it's one of the longest standing Premier Calendar elite national standard races.
Yeah. And it's sticking around for at least another 2 years. So that's good.
Rafa have done quite a couple of, they've done a few nice things recently, haven't they? They've been donating. Yeah, they've donated like $250,000 to like 4 different foundations or something.
That's nice.
The Dave Rayner Foundation.
Oh, right.
They donated a ton of money to that, and a couple other foundations.
But then again, when you're charging £700 for a pair of bib shorts, they probably have some decent margin in that, don't they?
Facts.
No, it's not. Yeah, it is good for them to have stepped in and saved it, as well as donating all that money to various different causes. So well done, Rafa.
Yeah.
Well, woo! Any other news, Cam, or are we pretty much done?
I think that's it. The Remco Evenepoel is just ripping up the Algarve.
He's drugged up to bits, though, isn't he?
Come on, mate.
Facts.
No, I didn't say
right.
that.
Facts. That's coming from me. I don't believe he's drugged up by the way.
He's the most talented cyclist of this generation. But they were racing up the Foyer climb yesterday out of Montchique, which is where me and Oliver were there training 2 weeks ago. Pretty cool, yeah. Yeah, they didn't quite go up as fast as we went up, but they weren't far off.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So how did your time compare?
Oh, we don't need to get into it.
Too much quicker than them. Too much quicker than them.
Too much quicker.
So he won though, didn't he? Right?
Yeah. He won.
Well done.
Van der Poel was dropped 3.5k to go. Garant was dropped 3.5k to go.
Both pretty much done then. Their season's over. That's the last time we ever talk about Mathieu van der Poel. It's all about Remco now. Wow. I'm not following anything. I mean, I don't really care for cycling at this point in the year until the classics start. For me,
well, I think it's the same for those guys, isn't it? Like a lot of the big boys, these races are just kind of the training races.
Exactly.
But saying that, you don't want to go in. You got to give respect to these races. In their own right, they're all big races, aren't they? They're all professional races that people are trying to win. There's prize money. There's contracts up for grabs.
You'd think that the lower riders within the roster of a World Tour team would target things like this. You wouldn't think Remco would be, or is he just that goddamn good?
I think he's just that good.
He is on like a deep training week or whatever, and he can still smash it out. Whereas you'd think that the guys who need to get results and want to be seen will be pushing themselves to the front, saying, let us have a zest on this one, and then...
Maybe Remco was taking it easy.
Wow. Imagine.
Could you imagine?
Jesus Christ, he's like me. That's too loud, Pritch. I'll get my levels right one day. Thanks for listening to another episode of the podcast. I think we've lost the name now, haven't we? We don't even call it the podcast. It's just the podcast.
Oh, it's the Gruppetto, mate. 2.0.
Gruppetto 2.0 with me, Chris Pritchard, your boy, Cameron Jeffers, and Dylan from Sufferfest. What a lad he was. I enjoyed that chat.
Top lad.
Top banana. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to stay abreast of all our videos going live. Cameron, got what else to say?
See you next one.